rebuilding confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zymet.
Hello and welcome to the Beverly Zymet Show, where being the best you has just gotten easier. My guest today, calling in from the UK, is Arna Van Gogh. Welcome to the show, young lady.
Hi, Beverly. How are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, it's been a crazy day already, but you know what? That's what makes life interesting, right?
And it's only just started for you.
Well, no, it started like 4 hours ago for me. So I'm one of those early risers, you know. So,
Excellent.
but yeah, it's interesting. We're on such a extreme time zone here. It's 8 o'clock, and over there where you are, it's what, 3 in the afternoon?
Yeah, it's 3 in the afternoon indeed. Yeah.
So what part of the UK are you from?
Well, I'm actually not from the UK.
Okay.
I am half Dutch, half Taiwanese, and that's why my business is called Being Dutchanese.
Okay.
Because I have had the privilege of having the best of both worlds growing up. So I grew up in Taiwan. I went to an American school, which is why I have such an American accent. And you know, growing up, I got to kind of live both sides. Whenever I was in Taiwan, I was always a foreigner because I was half Dutch. And when I went to Holland, I was half Taiwanese. I wasn't Dutch, I was half Taiwanese. So, you know, growing up kind of in that dichotomy really informed me a lot about the way the world works and my position in the world as well. And it's just been so fascinating to grow up and see the world become closer and closer and closer. You know, like we were just saying before the call, the world is so small now.
Oh, it
And
is.
yeah, and it's so
Yeah.
incredible. It's so incredible. And this is also why I wanted to start working online because I I thrive on that kind of multiculturalism. I love having clients from literally 4 continents. You know, and the time zones, like we'll get used to them, right? We get used to them. Every 6 months there's a little reset, but then we get used to it again.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's been really incredible, and I just love being able to be in the online space and giving people support for what they need in order to really thrive as entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So exactly what country are you currently in? Let's put it that way.
Right, yeah. So I'm currently in the UK,
Okay.
and I am in the south of the UK. So the weather is slightly better than the north. I have lived in the north as well
Yeah.
previously. And yeah, it's beautiful here. It's rolling fields, countryside. If you hear an occasional sheep, that will be the neighbors. Uh, but yeah, it's been wonderful to you know, take a step back with lockdown and everything and really enjoy nature.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you because I travel a lot, right? And I'm currently landed in Denver. I'll probably be here for a while again. You know, it just depends, different avenues and where I go and what's going on. And so I'm looking at Denver probably being a landing spot for a while now. But I'll still take little jaunts here and there. But there's just nothing like the open road. And
I totally agree with that. I did 4 continents and 32 countries last year, Beverly. So
wow.
going from that to this year so far, I started the new year in Geneva, then I went to Paris, then I also went to Portugal. So I've done a couple of countries already, but it's such a vast difference from last year, where you
Right.
know every month I was somewhere new. Every month I was trying to do
Right.
my podcast in all these weird places with terrible Wi-Fi, and now everything is so stable. What's that about?
Yeah, it's a different way of life, isn't it? When you're used to being on the go, 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 go. I get that so much. I actually 2 weeks ago I was down in Arizona in a really an isolated little spot, not that far from civilization. I was like 90 miles from Las Vegas, but at the same time where I was, there was like no internet, and it's like, oh my gosh, trying to find something, and I found a spot where I could, do my hotspot or whatever, but it wasn't a strong enough signal to pull. So I couldn't even run my show, It's like,
Oh
oh
no.
my gosh, it's like, okay, this is way, I just look at it, this is Spirit's way of saying, take a breather.
Yeah.
You've done all this for so long, just relax, right?
Mm.
And so I did. I was with family for a while, for like 3 days. So it was kind of nice. It was
Oh,
over 4th of July weekend, and
oh, of course, yeah.
so it was good, and then coming back into reality and having to pick up where you left off, it's like, oh my gosh, it was like a whole week just trying to catch up where,
Yes.
ah, yeah, that's why sometimes it's like, I don't want to go on a vacation because it's too much of a
Too
hassle to
much to
catch
come
up.
back. Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Well, I've worked out this really interesting thing of looking ahead as much as possible.
right,
And because I'm an automations coach, like I have to look ahead all the time. So I tend to get as much work as possible done before
right.
I go. So when I come back, only have my emails to deal with.
You're gonna have
And
to
so
give me
that has
some
worked quite
some of
well.
those tips because I've done
Yeah.
quite a bit, that's been
Yeah.
animated, but I could use a whole lot more animation because I'm telling you, it gets to be overwhelming when you're one person,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
then you delegate, and it's like, for me, that's probably one of the hardest things is to put it out there in a delegation format. It's like, I know I need to, and I've done little by little, but the automation is really, really good. It's just like working with the shows and stuff, and the animation is really nice. And I'm actually looking to move into doing the syndicated TV and stuff now too as well. I know. So I'll be
That's
looking
so
for
healthy.
I'll be looking for speakers specially just for that.
Oh, right. Wow.
Well, I said, yes, make me a TV star, right?
Yeah.
I liked that little movement there. We might have to do something with that, Arna.
They did call me drama queen for a reason when I was a
Okay.
teenager. Um, I like to think I was just expressing myself very well, but of course, especially growing up in very a little bit conservative culture, I would say. Being expressive was not really a thing, and that's something that I've really had to learn and really embrace as my personality. Like it's
Right.
okay to express myself as long as I'm not hurting anybody. It's yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I can relate to that. I was very, very expressive as a child. I guess you'd put me in that rebel category. So, and being second
Yep.
oldest of 11 kids, I was pretty much out there, right? But, life changes and you go extrovert to introvert and back and forth, and, life changes and what's going on
Yeah.
during your life at certain periods of your life where you've become more introverted versus the extrovert. And, it's interesting
Yeah.
to watch your journey, where you go in and out.
Absolutely. And especially with lockdown, like we've had to embrace, because
Oh
I
my
believe that we're
gosh.
kind of on a spectrum, and like you say, we move back and forth, right? And I think we've all had to retreat into ourselves a little bit more. And some people don't like what they see.
Oh
And
gosh, you got that right.
yeah, and for a lot of people that's really scary. And so, I found even in my coaching, like I have clients, long-term clients that call me out of the blue and go, I have no idea who I am anymore.
Hmm.
And it's like, I get it. I get it because we're suddenly forced to face our demons. We're forced to face our family. Like, family is,
Right.
is a really difficult. I'm very, I want to say I'm very lucky that I don't live with my parents or with my family, because otherwise they would drive me nuts. At the same time, I love them and miss them very much. But they would drive me nuts,
Right.
because we're so good at triggering each other. We're so good at just poking those past wounds. And I'm a strong believer that a lot of our triggers and our personalities are created from our childhood trauma, as Dr. Gabor Mate calls it. And
Right.
trauma doesn't necessarily have to be something excessive like a car crash or a house burning down, but there can be micro traumas as well, and it's really how it has affected you. And so when you're in that space of people that have been there with you and that have really lived through that with you, it's very easy for you to get on each other's nerves. And I was living with my best friend of like 10, 12 years. And we had to work hard at our relationship, at staying
Right.
nice and staying sane, because otherwise we would just, devolve into cat fights and pettiness and all those things. And that's just so unnecessary, especially now.
Yeah. Well, the human element wasn't designed to be confined. I mean,
Mm,
you look at nature and you look at animals, right? And they have the freedom of the open spaces, right?
mm.
And then you go into the zoos and you look at that confinement. So you
Oh,
kind of put yourself in that same perspective, right? You've
mm,
been confined.
yeah,
You're not
yeah.
necessarily behind bars, but you've been
No,
told, and it's
yeah.
been propaganda after,
Oh,
all of
yeah.
this.
And
And
such a scarcity mentality on top of that
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the psyche or the mindset has been reprogrammed, and if you really study the mind and its workings, 6 weeks is all it takes to shift to another whole mindset. And when you're in a fear-based world, and if you listen to all of that, and that programming gets embedded so fast, and
Absolutely.
it's mind-boggling to me. I've been
Yeah.
on this planet probably twice as long as you have.
Probably almost.
Almost, almost. I'm
Yeah.
70, so we're close,
Oh,
right?
wow. Okay,
Oh yeah,
definitely
see.
then.
So,
I just
so
turned 31.
see, okay, but
Yeah.
to watch everything that I've seen over the years, never in my wildest dreams would I have ever imagined or
Mm,
would have believed that something like this could have happened.
mm,
It's just, it's shocking.
mm.
Now my belief system's been solid for a long time, and for me,
Yeah.
this
So,
is not.
yeah.
This does not fit in my belief system. It does not fit in
Mm,
my freedom system.
yeah.
And so again, that little rebel, she's coming out pretty strong right now these days.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
but
So
go ahead.
it's just part of it. So it's just part of the what I'm seeing, because I'm quite logical, so I like looking at patterns and I like
Right,
seeing what's happening. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the Spanish influenza happened 100 years ago, because even forests, even rainforests, burn down once every 100 years to reset
exactly.
and cleanse and restart life again. And I think this is very much nature's way of doing that, especially as this planet is carrying so much. Sometimes I sit and I get overwhelmed by how much Mother Earth has to do. Like, if you
Right.
think about all the people, all the cars, all the pollution, and when you get out to nature, you really appreciate, like, wow, this is beautiful. This is
Oh yeah.
so dense. And how come we can't have more of that? Like, especially, so I'm currently in the process of moving, actually, to even further south, near Glastonbury and Stonehenge in England.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's going to be, and the energy is beautiful there because there's just so much more natural energy, and
Right.
it's being preserved and it's being appreciated, and I really respond to that very well. Because after that weekend, I'm just like refreshed. I'm like, yes, let's bring it. Like, I'm ready to live life again, because I got to absorb that energy. I got to go for walks, like, and we got lost in the woods a little bit. Oops.
Yeah.
And it's been fun. And I just think it's so important that we're able to appreciate nature for what it is,
Right.
and and be in awe a little bit, be a little bit scared about it, because I think
Well,
that's what's going to bring us closer to it
closer.
as well.
Right.
Mm,
And, I have to agree with you there because I looked at it from that same perspective that nature has a way of bringing itself back into balance. Again, you got that pendulum that it'll swing this direction, then it'll swing back that direction, right? And
mm,
where is the pendulum swinging right now? And where's that happy medium, as you put?
yeah.
Um, the the pollution that has shifted, during this whole pandemic thing is phenomenal. And it's something I think we should have, well, I know we should have been doing. There's a lot of talk about it, but it really wasn't put out there. And what the pandemic has done actually was forced. And yes, I agree with you on that standpoint that nature does find a way, and then again, now where's that happy medium, right? And how do we go about things? And personally, I think we have the capacity to do the online stuff. And that was like an instant turnaround. All of a sudden, everybody is trying to get onto the internet and do all these different, you know,
Yeah,
communications.
I'm gonna admit, so I was actually I don't know. I guess I never thought about it, but I was a little bit shocked at the lack of good internet that America as a whole had. Because, you know, I had my weekly calls with my mentor. I haven't seen her face in 4 months because the internet isn't strong enough. And where she lives, in like Beverly Hills, and she can't get strong enough internet
Yeah,
to see me and talk to me in like, you know, HD. Whereas before it was totally fine, but because now everybody's working from home, the internet has this capacity has just
right.
completely dropped. Um, and and that also makes you think twice about infrastructure. Like, what is it that we're really investing in? You know,
Right.
what is it that really matters? Because in this day and age, internet is hugely important. It's an extremely important way for us to stay connected and you know, do our best work and live out our life purpose. So maybe we need a little bit more focus on that, and you know, buy a few less nuclear heads. Like just saying,
I
just saying.
started working in the virtual reality world. Are you familiar with virtual reality?
A little bit, yes. It's
Yeah, with the little
fascinating.
avatars running around, right? Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting when we talk about the avatar world of virtual reality, because a lot of people think virtual reality is what we're doing here on a Zoom, which in essence it's not, right? And we started in this in January. And so I
Mm.
was moving into it and working with the educational part of it and with the business part of it. And we were, you know, my partner and I, we were building our business together and it was going really nice. And all of a sudden, this pandemic hit and boom, we got inundated. And we've
Absolutely.
had to really pick up the game and the speed of everything. But we've done now two events, vendor events, because you know we
Wow.
can't do stuff outside of, you know, because of the
Yeah.
social distancing and everything, and they went very well. You know, and it's like now
Mm.
we need to really pick up this pace. We've tested the waters a couple of times. Now we really need to get a larger group into the virtual world. And
Mm.
that's kind of our focus this month, is to put it out there even more hot and heavy. So we're always
Yeah.
looking for vendors, we're looking for speakers, we're looking for a
Mm.
lot of different things, and
Awesome.
to make this really work. So I'll have to get you the link and everything. You know, we'll put
Yes,
the link,
please.
you know,
Yeah.
in the, you know, down below and everything, and
In the
how
show
you
notes.
can
Yeah.
start getting interactive in the virtual reality world. But one of the strongest things is in virtual reality, the mindset is different. The psyche shifts because
Mm.
there's no social distancing there. And the mind doesn't know the difference between, is there a human body right here or is it just an element? It doesn't matter. It's the connection, right? And so when your sight, because you've got all your senses playing, you are now in an arena where you are seeing the worlds that we built out. You're seeing an event center built out where there's table after table, right? There's vendors after vendors. There's this huge stage that somebody's talking on, right? There's all of this whole ambiance of where you are is right there. So your whole being, your whole physiology, your whole belief structure is there in that element. Not here, like you're looking at the world behind me, I'm looking at your living room behind you, right? And so not quite the same thing.
Oh
But when
yeah,
you're
absolutely.
immersed in that, and you don't have to have the Oculus glasses, the 3D things. You can do it directly just from the from your computer.
Screens.
You
Yeah.
don't get the depth of it, but it's still there. And so
Mm.
when you are communicating with that little avatar sitting beside you, or walking beside you, or standing there with you, it's real. It's real.
Mm.
Now everything starts shifting in that mindset and that belief. So we've taken that social distancing, that separation, some of those fears, you know, and the mental institutions, health institutions, have been working with virtual reality for several
Oh
years now to help
yeah.
people get over phobias and fears and
Mm.
things like that. Well, now we've
Yeah.
taken this whole different thing where you can be at home, whether it's in business or school. We have schools coming. We're looking at schools right now because we've set up a university where they can actually go into a classroom setting, and the students are side by side,
Yeah.
so they have that
Wow.
interaction. We can take them on
Wow.
different adventures. If they have a science project, we can take them into a science element. If you got younger ones, we can take them into the dinosaur world. We can take them up to the planets. We can actually put them in a little spaceship, fly onto that planet, learn all about it as they walk around and
Wow.
everything. So there's interaction that you don't get in a
Yeah.
classroom.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about bullying. You don't have to worry about anything else.
Mm,
But the attention is there, and
mm,
the kids of the world today are in technology.
yeah,
And so why
absolutely.
not put them in the element that's in their
Yeah.
blood? Right.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
looking to do that. But even as businesses, that are at home, you still got the static of everybody's home environment. But getting on this platform, on the VR platform, we're able to
Mm,
build out a boardroom. They can have
yeah.
private offices. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at a computer screen that has an
Mm,
office setting and you're doing your work and everything, but it's all right there. You look up and it's like, oh, you're there. The
mm.
the connection with the mind is boggling because it puts
Yeah.
you
Well, so one of my top favorite tips, I don't know if I've sent it to you, and I can if you'd like me to. I have like a top 5 tips on the best ways to focus, or 5 ways to focus more.
uh-huh.
And number one is actually to use this platform. It's called FocusMate. It's free for 3 sessions a week, and you basically log in and you choose a session, and it's 50 minutes. And it's with a stranger somewhere in the world. So they could
Oh
be three
wow.
towns away, or they could be 3 countries away, or 3 million miles away. Um, and so you just go, "Hi, my name is Arna. Today I'm going to finish writing my blog. What are you going to do?" "Oh, I'm going to edit my video." "Okay, fantastic, great." And then we work with a video on. So it's kind of like Zoom. It's just in a uh, what's it called, in a window.
Uh-huh.
And then there'll be a cute little noise after 50 minutes, and I'll be like, "Okay, so how did you get on?" "Yeah, I did really well. I managed to finish my blog." "Oh, I didn't finish my video, but I did make some good headway. I just got stuck somewhere and had to redo something." "Okay, great, thanks. Bye." And then that's literally, being with other people.
Right.
It, like, even from a screen, like you say, it doesn't even have to be 3D. You don't even need those glasses. Like,
Right.
that very interaction itself makes people so much more accountable to themselves and to others, because there's that
Yes.
human element that I think a lot of people are missing. And Zoom has been an absolute lifesaver throughout this time. It's no wonder that their stock went up so much, because it's so important, like the
Right.
physical seeing. I know that, previously, pre-COVID, if you will, I would always ring one of my best friends because she lived a couple hundred miles away, and I would always just call her, but I wouldn't see her. But then, because of
Right.
COVID, she was like, "Well, why don't we do like a virtual drinks? Because usually we see each other once every couple months, and we can't do that now." "Yeah, okay." And it just completely changed the dynamic of our conversation, because we could
Right.
see each other.
Right.
And even doing podcasts like with you, I can see you. I'm looking at you as I'm talking, and
Right.
and that just makes such a big difference compared to doing it without video. That alone, like you say, it's such a small but significant part of how our
Right.
brains work. And this is what I love about automations coaching as well. It's really understanding, how does your brain work, and how can we enhance that, and how can we optimize that, and how can we kind of narrow down the things that don't work very well, right? So, like, sometimes I get a little bit lost in details, so I know that, so I have time set aside every week to do the detailed reporting, etc., because I
Right.
know that that's what I need. um, and somebody else might say, right, I really need to have these reports printed for me every week, or for these reports to be sent to me. And we can actually set it so that you get all of these different things that are automated, so you don't have to think about it. I know that one really simple thing that I also do is I have every single email that comes into my inbox, my business inbox, that says receipt. It's
Oh, okay.
automatically goes into a Google Drive folder. So once a month, I have to, like, do my expenses and all those things.
Right.
They're just all in one place, and I don't have to think about it. Because I think that we spend so much time as people worrying about, oh, do they have the virus? Do I need to wash my hands now? Like, and we do that in our businesses as well. Oh, maybe I need to do this. Oh, maybe I need to do that. But if you can set your life up so that you're only doing hard thinking 4 or 5 hours a week, and the rest of the week you get to kind of coast a little bit, then it makes work a lot more pleasant and not so stressful.
Oh
Um,
man, if I could automate my emails where certain things go that direction, other things go that direction, I
yeah,
didn't know you could do that. That would be a
yeah,
godsend for me because I'm looking at my emails and I have way too many emails to start with, you know, and
yeah,
and it's like some of mine won't even go in anymore. It's like okay, I'm done with that. I'll start a new one, and the people that
yeah,
want to stay in contact with, I'll
yeah,
give them the new email. It's like I'm
yeah.
just so over it.
Yeah, it's
You know.
stressful, and because also, in this day and age, and especially with the pandemic as well, your email is such a commodity.
Yeah.
Everybody wants your email address, and I found it really funny. So this last weekend was the first time that I went out to restaurants and I went out to have drinks at bars, because they only opened a couple weeks ago here in the UK, and it's just been so fascinating because everybody wants your phone number for track and trace. And there's people that are like, no, I don't want to give it to you because my information is so valuable, right? And it's the
Right.
same reason, like when you want my freebie, I ask for your name and your email address because it's a little bit of an exchange. So now I can send you emails, right?
Right.
Um, but at the same time, there are so many times where we don't actually engage at all, right? We don't engage with emails and we don't engage with whatever information is thrown our way because there's just so many. Like if I get one more pandemic email, like it's getting blocked like spam because they're so annoying. I'm like, I haven't heard from this company in 4 years. Like I bought a dress once at university or something. And suddenly they're emailing me because, we're here to support you through the pandemic. What are you going to do? Buy me a new dress? I don't think so. Yeah,
That is so true. It is,
yeah,
and you have
yeah,
to look at it from that perspective as well. But
yeah.
yeah, it's gotten to the point, like you say, you give your phone number anymore, especially when you're out. It's that whole tracking thing,
Mm.
and then they're making a phone call to you and say, oh, well, how do you feel? Well, what if you have allergies, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I've had a little bit of a cough or a little runny nose or something. But I have allergies. Boom, they automatically don't listen to that. They automatically just stick you in the COVID.
COVID. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so the miscommunication and all of the false numbers, everybody tests positive to COVID. The coronavirus is actually in your DNA. It's in your body. And if you've ever had a vaccination, you will test positive. But it's
Mm.
90% of them are false positives, right?
Yep,
And
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know, so if you look at some of the other stuff that's going on with just a regular flu and people that are dying from kidney failures and diabetes and you name it, right? There's tons of other ailments out there that are far more damaging than what the COVID is, and the death toll is very high. Yet at the same time, now they're saying that oh, it's COVID related. It's COVID related. Well, it's not. And so that I think is also part of the whole fear tactic is to make it sound worse so that we can control. And so you've got two sides of the fence. You've got two pendulums swinging so drastic from one another. It's like, whoa, we need to just really start paying attention to what is your heart telling you? What is your
Yeah,
gut telling you? What is your
totally.
belief? Where are you allowing yourself to get lost in someone else's manipulation? And it's not just with the pandemic here that's going on, it's with other
Yeah.
aspects of your life. Where have
Mm.
you allowed other people to move you around, thinking you had to be a certain you because
Yeah,
that's what other
totally.
people want me to be. I have to act like this because everybody wants me to be
Yeah.
like this. Who is this everybody? Who is
Yeah.
this they?
I,
Right?
I read an excellent quote today, and I personally agree with it. I don't have a problem with people being employed, but it said a salary is a bribe they give you to give up on your dreams. And I was
Oh,
just
oh
like,
my
whew,
gosh.
whew.
Oh,
Um, so
Woo!
so obviously there's many different ways to look at this.
Right,
Obviously as an entrepreneur, I'm like, yes, that is exactly right for my situation. But some of my closest friends, they're not cut out to be entrepreneurs, and I don't want them to be because
right,
they're happy employed. They do a lot of good in the world. I have a few friends that are in the medical profession. Like, I'm so grateful for them, right? Not everybody can do what I do.
right,
Um, and that's totally okay. And so for me, I just keep going back. I've been doing a lot of blog writing lately because I'm really trying to kind of hone in on my voice and my content a little bit, because I feel like I've grown a lot in the last year. And I keep coming back to this point of, am I hurting someone? Am I being true to myself? And does this come from my heart, or is somebody else telling me
right,
this? And and just these three questions have helped me kind of make so many decisions in the last 4 or 5 years that I've been an online entrepreneur. I really want to make a difference in the world. I really want to inspire people to help them understand, what tools are available for them to live their best life, and also to use that extra time to come into themselves and to get to know themselves better, to understand who it is they are and what kind of imprint they want to leave behind. And I will have to admit, Alexander Hamilton, the musical, I've
uh-huh.
watched it like 8 times since it came out on the 3rd of July. I'm obsessed. I actually first saw it live in December in London. So I was already a fan previously, but there's just so many of these messages that are coming out. And so, like, all of my blogs this week have been Hamilton themed. um,
Well, that
it's
can't be all of a
brilliant.
bad thing, that's
No,
good.
yeah, it's hilarious, and it's good because one of the lines that sticks out, for example, is the world was both wide enough for Hamilton and me, and that's his enemy that sings that song, or his frenemy, and that was a lesson I learned really early on. Just because I'm a business coach doesn't mean you can't be a business coach.
Right,
Just because I sell Etsy doesn't mean you can't sell Etsy. I don't, but you get my picture, because there is so much in the world. Like, if there were only 10 business coaches in the world, we would never sleep, because there'd be so many people that needed help. And
right,
also, we would be so misaligned, because the people that I attract are different from the people other people attract, that you attract. And this is why it's so important to know it is who you are, so that when somebody says something nasty about you, you can go, okay, well, that's your opinion, and that's it. That's your
right,
karma. It's not mine. I did not say anything mean to you. I did not mistreat you in any way. So that's not my karma. That's yours. Right. And so when we work in that way, when we are really, really true to who we are, we can actually make decisions. Do I believe in COVID? I don't know, because I don't know enough about science, and I'm not watching the news enough to understand what all the different aspects of it means.
right,
But I wash my hands. I bring gel with me everywhere I go. Anytime I walk into a restaurant, they say, please sanitize your hands. I don't fight them, because it is their establishment, it's their rules. I'm choosing to, give them my custom. I don't get to make the rules here, because I'm not hurting anyone. It doesn't hurt me to use anti-bac. Like, it's not great, but it's not going to harm me in any particular way. And it, and I refused to, like, when the shops first opened, I didn't want to go, because I didn't want to be in a crowd of so many people. I didn't want to queue for 3 hours to buy a top, because that's not where my values are. I don't need to be fashion forward, right? I'm wearing clothes that are probably super old, because it doesn't matter to me. And so when you think about, like, what is it that really matters to me? Like, does a haircut really matter? Or does do like, how can I best present myself to the world? How can I best make the situation better for everyone? Because this isn't about me. Because
right,
I am one of billions of people on this planet, and the fact that I have to wear a face mask is a very small price to pay. Helps that I grew up in a society where face masks are super normal. Like, whenever I had a cold, I had to wear face masks to school to protect other students from my cold. And so for me, it was almost like, yeah, of course we wear face masks. And so just trying to understand it from another point of view, and also just thinking a little bit bigger outside of our immediate environment. Like, the town near where I live, they've gone back into lockdown because they had such a surge in cases. and that's horrible for them. But I'm not going to go there now and like walk around talking to people, because I don't need to. It doesn't do anybody any good to do that. I'm
Right.
totally fine staying at home. And so the more you can be content with who you are and what that means, the less you have to push it onto other people, the less you need to make others believe it too, because it doesn't matter what they believe. It only
Right.
matters what you believe and how
Right.
you present that to the world. And I think that's a really important message that not enough people know, um, or truly understand, because we're so busy trying to make everybody like us. And
Right. And
you know what?
that's not going to work.
No, it's not. It's not going to
Right.
work at all. And I think the more we allow ourselves to have differing opinions, and the more that we take a more protective approach to ourselves and for others, I think that will make a really big difference in how we view this pandemic as well. Um,
Well,
yeah.
you really tapped on, a good point. And I share this with my clients and stuff too, is it doesn't matter what other people think of you, it matters what you think of you. And again, that's being true to yourself. And that's what this show is all about, being that best you that you can be, right? And so everything that you've communicated here today has said that message. I'm an identity specialist coach, right? So I help you become your own self archaeologist, right? And how
I
do you
love
do
that, by
that?
the way. I love that phrase. Self-archaeologist.
Self
Yes.
archaeologist, and it's not about just blowing up your world, and moving stuff. Now you got to go find pieces all over, and you've already done enough cutting and pasting, into your subconscious for your fight flight mechanisms. But what it is, it's just brushing away the things that you're not to find the true identity of who you are. And I got started in that myself because I had lost my own identity. And I think this is where people are struggling with the most right now during this lockdown type thing, is they've had to spend so much time with themselves that they don't really know who they are, because they knew themselves by association, right? Oh yeah, I go to this
Yeah.
job, this is what I do. I know these people and this is what they do. And I go over
Mm.
here to this bar and I have parties with these people, and I go
This is
shopping
my
over here.
gym.
So
Yeah,
everything was
yeah.
identity, identity, identity by association.
Mm.
And
That's
you
so deep.
became you around the people you were around that you
Mm.
thought they wanted you to be, or you
Yeah.
felt that you had to perform a certain way to be accepted by that group. So when you
Mm.
look at, this is an analogy I share with a lot of people as well, to find out who you really are. And
Mm.
so you go to work
Yeah.
and you become that you at work,
Work you.
and
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
perform certain ways. Then you meet your friends over here at the bar or at a barbecue or whatever, right? And now that's a
Mm-hmm.
whole different you.
Yep.
Then you go to a family gathering and that's another whole different you. Now
Yeah.
you go on vacation. Nobody knows you where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Now you can just be whatever you want to be,
Yeah.
right? You'll
Yeah.
test the waters and all kinds of different things. So there's four
Yeah.
different yous.
Mm.
So all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you get this little envelope in the mail, and it says you're invited to a party. Oh, nice. You open it up, and it says, okay, come and meet yourself over here at this time at this place. So you go, and you knock on the door, and somebody opens the door and invites you in, and all of a sudden, here's all your people from work, all your people from the last vacation, all your, family members, and your friends at your party time. They're all in here interacting. Who are you going to be?
Yeah, you're gonna be a total mess.
You're going to say, I don't feel so good. I think I should go home. I
I
don't
think
want
I
to
need to go.
contaminate anybody, right? Right?
Yeah, it's so interesting that you put it that way, because I completely agree. And I want to add in another level. I'm a different person when I speak a different language.
Oh, I'm
So
sure you are, right?
yeah, so I speak five languages. And so it's funny because people close to me, they'll know me from one particular language. And I remember one of my friends, because I'd rang, I can't remember who I rang. It was somebody, and I was speaking in Chinese. And I hung up the phone, and whoever it was turned around and looked at me kind of strangely and said, I don't, I don't know where you went, but you weren't Arna. for like the last half hour. And I was like, oh, okay, um, sure. Uh, but it was because like I just turned into, Taiwanese Arna. Um,
Right.
because that's a persona that I had to create in order to, survive in Taiwan. I was the fun, bubbly foreign girl that spoke really good Mandarin, even though I was Taiwanese. But and so you kind of create that persona, and having to shed that has been really it's been really challenging.
Sure.
But the one thing I would say is it's been challenging, but you know what? It's so rewarding. I
Right.
get to wake up and I just get to be myself. I don't have to put on a face. Like I don't even put on makeup for interviews anymore because I'm like, you know what? I am perfect the way I am. It doesn't
Right.
matter what I look like. It matters what message I'm here to give. And it matters that I'm here with love and intention and strength. And
Exactly.
I want people to see that. And you're going to see that better with a shiny forehead than you are with my red lipstick. So,
Right. And
yeah.
I agree with you there 100%. It's like I've never been a makeup girl anyway,
Mm,
ever. So it's kind of interesting that you say that. And
yeah.
it does show the real you. Who
Mm,
are you? And again, when you're interviewing or you're on a podcast or you're on a show or whatever label, I mean, they're all the same, but they're different,
yeah.
and the technicalities of it are different, whatever. But being able to watch someone that you're speaking with, watch their mannerism, because we speak in body language.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so much of that is taken unconsciously when you start working with the mind. I've always been fascinated with the mind, so I do a lot in the work that I do. There's a science behind everything that I do. I never had the science until the last several years because I was very intuitive and I just knew, right?
Mm,
And
yeah.
now there's been science out there that have proven that intuitive knowing thing, and how the brain works and the synopsis and the, you know, everything in that functioning. It's really kind of interesting to be able to have both sides now where you have the intuitiveness and you also have the science because it kind of brings them together. So you're bringing intuition and science together,
Yeah. I
and
love it.
and a lot of people kind of need that. It's like show me. If you have to prove it to me, because I can't just
Mm,
I can't just believe it if I don't see it, if I don't know it, if I can't
yeah.
see the interactions of it, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. And I
Mm,
look at this world, here we are in this Zoom and how we're communicating, and you look at the elements. I mean, you used to be able to go put your butt in a seat and there's a speaker up there and you're learning something, right? And so much of that is gone. Even there had been lost over several years because it's all these online courses, online courses, online courses.
yeah.
Well, a year ago, I was talking with the gentleman that I partnered up with. Is I want to be able to do my courses virtually. I had no clue what that meant. I just used that word virtually to get that one-on-one interaction, to be able
Mm,
to let people see what I'm doing and give them the teaching and the movement and the direction and how to do this, and to really get the purpose of what that workshop was all about, the training. And you don't get that when you're on an online course. And how many people finish an online course? How many do you have
yeah.
that you haven't finished, right? Uh-huh. We're
Yeah.
all
I think
guilty.
I think the current rate is like 3% of people that buy online courses finish them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not
I,
very much.
No, I'm currently sat on 6, but again, as an automations coach, I have to, practice what I preach. So I actually set aside 3 hours every week so I can actually finish them. And I
Right.
made a promise to myself, no more online courses until I've gone through all of them. So
And
yeah,
sometimes you have to do that discipline like that.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
so doing what I'm doing now with the virtual reality, it's bringing the isolation world of business and education into
Mm,
this virtual reality format, to where now
mm,
you do have that interaction, you have that movement, because there's so many different things that you can do in there. You can run around that little avatar and you have that bonding connection, right? But
yeah.
at the same time, you've got a video behind you. You know, it would be alive just like this. where the students out there are on their own computers. Their little avatars are in the room with everybody else, yet they're still in their own environment, watching you and listening and being able to perform, right? Which is that interaction that's necessary to sometimes get those results that you're seeking. And I work a lot with nature. There's a lot of classes that I've done, that I still do, that involve nature, the animal spirits, the elements, everything, because for me, it's a message. If an animal crosses my path, what's the message? If all of a sudden there's a strong wind shows up, what's the message? So I really am aware of what's going on around my environment that's giving me a message, and it's getting into the silence and the quietness of the self to understand what are the messages that nature's giving you, what is the messages that other people are giving you. And when you're in an action, interacting like this, and you're seeing that person to person, that body language, what's the message? What are they saying? What's when you're working in that coaching aspect? Because I read a lot of body language in searching out to help people find that true identity. Are they closing off? Are they like this? What is that? Exactly. I was like, you ain't getting to me, right? But all these little things, and just the expressions on their face, their movement, their posing, everything tells what's going on. And when you can begin to recognize that, and even looking at the environment that they're in, and what transpires, so life is interesting. And I look at from the perspective of there's always a message in something. It's just like the little conversation we've had here today. We don't know each other, but now we know each other.
Right? And at a deeper level as well. And this is why I love the podcasting forum as well. I just think it's so wonderful to be able to connect with people that you normally wouldn't connect with.
Right.
Totally.
And to be able to share this message out to others, because it is an interesting message. It's something that's necessary, and it also helps to broaden that world of isolation, so to speak, and get different perspectives. It's like you mentioned earlier, okay, you're a business coach, and there's thousands of business coaches out there, thank heaven, but every single one of them comes from a different direction, right? And so it's like, okay, if you speak with someone and maybe you just don't connect, so you go to the next
there
one.
will be someone you connect with.
There is.
Thank you next. I was actually calculating it out today, and I say no to about 10% of my potential prospects because I don't feel like we would be a good match. I don't feel a connection. And if I don't feel it, I'm not going to be like, okay, I'll take your money anyway, because I'm not going to do my best work for you, and you're not going to be able to get the best results.
Right.
So it's like really holding on to that integrity. And I think it took a lot of work to get here. Don't get me wrong. Like I've said yes to everything too at one point, but sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to work with you because I don't think we'd be a good match. And sometimes people get offended, so you have to say that in a really nice way.
Yeah. Well, again, you can't. You have no control over it. I guess that's the way it is. You have no control over what someone else is going to think, and again, you look at different insecurities, right? I would rather have someone tell me, it's like, the little conversation we've had here, I just don't feel a strong connection. I think there's someone out there that can give you the result you're looking for, and I really don't feel that someone is me. Now, I could recommend someone that's in the same industry that, I think may be a better fit for you. And that's working with other people and having, there's space for everyone out here, as you had mentioned earlier too. And being able to work and connect with people that are in the same field that you are, so that you can better help a client or a potential client. Because sometimes you'll take a person to a certain level and it's like, okay, there's more to go. I'm not the person that's going to take you to that level. However, I know someone that I've dealt with that has helped me move this direction, And as everything that you're saying to me, this is the direction you're going.
Yeah.
That's not my expertise, but here's a person whose
There.
expertise it
Yeah.
is. So, you make a communication, call with them.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll work, maybe they won't. But
Yeah.
at least you have a direction for someone to go.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's extremely rewarding to be in this space, I think. And
Yeah.
it's truly wonderful just to connect with so many incredible people. Sometimes, when I can't sleep, I don't count sheep, but I count incredible people in my life. And then I can't sleep more because I'm so excited.
Well, that's one way to
Yeah.
do it. I like that. I
Yeah.
count incredible people in my life. And since I've been doing this show, I have come across so many marvelous people that I would have never had the opportunity to do. And I did start the show before the lockdown.
Mm.
But it has just opened so many other doors. I'm getting more people now that are asking me, "Oh my gosh, will you be on my virtual event over here? Or can you do this? Can you do
Yeah,
that?"
wonderful.
And
Yeah.
so it's time to level up to a higher scale. And working with the virtual reality, I feel is a big part of that. And
Yeah.
also now moving into being able to take my show out onto the syndication, of TV and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and just really
Totally.
move it
I'll
out
put my
there.
makeup on for the syndication.
This,
I'm just saying.
nah, you don't need to. It's the real world, and to be able to just
Yeah.
get that message out there,
Mm.
and right now there's a lot of binge watching going on.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
own a TV. I have not owned a TV in 25 years. So I'm
Yeah.
not a news watcher,
Mm.
I just, that's just not who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not a big movie goer.
Oh,
I just
wow.
never
Okay.
been into the movies and stuff, but I do love documentaries and,
Oh, yeah,
things like
definitely.
that.
And
Real
you know
life
what?
stories.
Netflix has some really good ones. I have to
Yeah.
admit, there's some really good ones on Netflix. I don't personally watch a lot of live TV either. I prefer to choose what I want to see. Um,
Yeah.
So, but like growing up, so here's a fun fact about me. I learned English watching Bring It On, which is a cheerleader movie.
Oh, okay.
That is how I learned English because I was like 10 or 11 before I started learning English. And the only thing that we could get on TV at the time in Taiwan was like the English movie channels. And for some reason, they just constantly played Bring It On. And obviously, being an 11-year-old girl, like, cheerleaders, it's like every girl's dream at that age. So that's how I learned English. And so movies have a special place in my heart, mostly for that reason,
Right.
because it's how I connected with the English language. So yeah, it's really fascinating.
Oh, that's an interesting fact. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's fun.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we could just like continue here
We could talk forever. I
forever.
think we've gone over already.
Let's see. Oh, we're getting there.
Oh, yeah, okay. Whoops.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's my show. I can do whatever I want. Right?
Good.
There's no deadline here, right? But thank you so much for sharing all your morsels of information and everything, to the audience here. And really, a lot of things that you spoke about will help them to become that better them. And that's what this whole show is all about. So I appreciate your time, Arna. And who
Absolutely.
knows? We'll definitely be seeing each other again in the Avatar world, maybe, and
Yes.
maybe on TV. The whole
Yeah,
works, right?
possibly.
Hey, and you know what?
Wonderful.
We fly the skies. We may end up running in an airport somewhere. We might be on a mountaintop somewhere.
I mean, crazier things have happened,
That's
so
right.
I'm totally prepared for it.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And I am so looking forward to be able to start flying the open skies again, because I've
Yes.
met so many beautiful people around the world that everybody's,
Mm.
you got to come here, you got to come here. Okay, I'm down for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Who needs Airbnb when you have loads of friends all over the world?
That's exactly right. And
Yeah.
that's kind of, I've been traveling since '97, and
Mm.
I don't have to stay in hotels. I
Yeah, you
don't, you know,
don't.
because I
Yeah.
know so many people all over, and I'm beginning to know more people in certain, towns and stuff like that. And it's like, you stayed there last time, you gotta stay here this time. You gotta stay longer.
That's so cute.
I mean,
That's
that's a
I
great
love
problem to
that.
have.
It is definitely. I definitely feel you. I've been there. Been like, oh, can't stay with the wrong person. Like,
So,
yeah,
well, this one
yeah,
asks first. Next
wonderful.
time you gotta come over here. Okay, you can spend some days over there, and then you gotta come over here.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. Yeah, you have to, but you have to stay here though. And I will cook you that thing. It's like, yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Although, I've gotten a bit of a rap for um being really good in other people's kitchens.
uh huh,
Um whenever I go somewhere, and I love cooking, so I really don't mind, but I usually end up cooking as well at some point.
right,
Because
same
they're like,
here.
yeah, just
Yeah.
throw Arna in any kitchen, she'll be fine. She'll make something taste good. I'm like, oh, thanks. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
It
Yeah,
is.
thank you so much, Beverly. I've so enjoyed speaking with you and getting to know you as well. You do incredible work. I'm so excited to learn more about the VR stuff. So make sure you do send me the information.
Well,
I'm
I'll just
super
have to
excited
take
to
you on a
learn
little
more.
journey in there, that's all.
Yeah,
Show you what it looks
awesome.
like. So,
Awesome.
well, it's time
Awesome.
now to say go out there to be that best you that you can be, because Arna and I are going to be what? The best we that we can be. So,
Ah,
everyone, have a great day, great evening, whatever it is in the world where you are, and we'll see you on the next show.